Welcome back, traders. Second portion of our show. We got the market moving a little bit off that GDP number, but let's go to the stocks first, Dennis. Chevron Corporation
Yeah,
disappointing the street a little bit.
yeah, Chevron. We were waiting on those earnings here. We were hoping to have it in the Big Ten show. It didn't happen. Well, we got it here in the Market Movers show. Chevron, and I guess they were delayed because they weren't good numbers. They missed here. Stock is trading down $1.70 right now, 104.99. Closed at 106.59. Even ExxonMobil getting hit a little bit off of that. ExxonMobil trading down 86.21 after closing 86.77. What's your technical on Chevron, Joel?
Well, the consolidation area, that 107 area, obviously, if we get anywhere back there, it'd be major resistance, but doesn't look like that's going to happen. Keep an eye on the pre-market low, Dennis, 104.62. We just spiked down there a few minutes ago. Below that, we got a real good level here at 103.51. That was the low back on January 13th. Just trying to hover, trying to stay above this kind of mid-range after the big rally this thing had from the $93 level up to 111. So, looks like this thing is going to come back and maybe over the next few days test that $100 level again.
Ford, Joel, reported earnings as well. It's been trading down all morning. 12.17 trading right now after closing at 12.74. So this stock a couple days ago got above that 13 area we're talking about. Just sniffed above it. It's been straight down now. GM even getting a sympathy move with it as well. GM's been trading down here. I'll give you a quote on GM: 24.07 after closing at 24.72. So GM trading near a critical 24 support. Maybe we'll start with Ford, and maybe we could do a technical on GM as well, Joel.
Well, Ford is trading like a derivative here, Dennis. And actually, if you were quick on the hop, you could have sold this thing into 13s and then covered it under 12. That's pretty much like a 3-month move in Ford. But the high, we're not going to get anywhere back there today, was up at 13 and change, 13 and a quarter. The panic low so far has been 1181. Just looking at the charts, it looks like you're going to really find some support here at the $12 area. And then coming back on the upside, if you get anything over, 1250 would be a gift here to resell this thing. 1266 was yesterday's low. Don't think it has some momentum to get back up there. Looking at the GM, I mean, that stock flirted under 20 for a while, has kind of had a monster rally, got over 25. If this thing does go into the $24 area, look for a bounce there, but below 24, things get a little bit sticky here. Could have perhaps look at this 23.50 level.
Moving right along, we've had a lot of earnings reports here this morning. Honeywell reported as well, Joel. It's a stock we don't talk about a lot on the show, but it is a pretty major component here. 56.94 it's trading right now after closing at 57.83. So they're not loving the Honeywell numbers. Looks like it's given back almost a buck. I look at the chart here. Seen this 56 area there earlier in January. It had a top there, and then back to a couple weeks ago, it actually tried to test that area and held. So I think 56 might give you a little bit of support, Joel. What's your take on Honeywell?
Well, someone liked the numbers off the hop, Dennis, because we traded up to 58.90 and then
Oops.
sold off the hop, though. That was yesterday. They must have released after the close yesterday. And then in the pre-market, we've come down and hit 56.65. Really, the big level for this thing for me would be the $56 level, prescribing to Dennis's whole number theory. That's been the low here for quite a while. Have a gap to fill as well in that stock. So we'll see. See if we can get a bounce off 56. If not, if we can't hold 56, next stopping point for this thing would really be at the $55 level. And coming back on the upside, quite a ways from, well, not that far away. 57.5 yesterday's low should be a good resistance point.
I did see those couple trades last night too. I'm not sure what those were all about because it did actually report this morning. But somebody obviously, maybe somebody thought it was going to have good earnings and was trying to buy it last night. They looked like they're wrong though, Joel. It's trading down a buck here. MO, which is Altria Group, it also reported earnings as well. And wow, did this one ever have a spike. Right off the hop, somebody bought that thing up to $30. That is just overdone. That 30 is a huge number on this. 29 is a big number, really, too, Joel. And it was trading up 29.30, 29.50, but not a lot of size. And now it's offered at 29.07, trading 29. I wonder if this 29 will try to put a lid on it when we actually get into the regular session. We break above there. Obviously, we were trading higher and can go. But what do you think about MO, Joel?
Yeah, I mean this thing has really been tight here. You're right about that. That 29 has just been the high. One day it snuck above that to 29.19. So I wouldn't get too fooled if it can't, if it gets above and holds that 29. You got a good 19 cents up to there. Coming back on the downside, I'm looking at the pre-market. The lowest we've been in the pre-market is 28.76. So I would use that level on the downside. We're actually really, this thing doesn't move a whole lot. So use 29 to this 28.20 as the range in Mo.
Starbucks reported last night, Joel. I think we should talk about it. It actually had record earnings, but they're selling it off. This thing's had a monster run. This thing's been on a monster run for 3 years because really, in the financial crisis, if you go back, this thing got down like $6 or $7, if I think I remember right. It's back at 47, making new all-time highs. We're pulling back here this morning a little bit on the earnings, but wow, this stock has really had a monster run if you even look and talk the last couple of years.
Yeah, it had a spike in the pre-market here to 49.20 and then came right down under to 46.91 and has just kind of had a slow migration north since that. We're trading down a little bit here in the pre-market. I would keep an eye on the, that's the all-time high. That will be major resistance. But let's see what happens at this $47 level. We've bottomed out there. Ooh, Dennis, we bottomed out there 3 times. And you know what they say about a quadruple bottom. There's no such thing. So as long as this thing stays above 47, it's still good to go north, perhaps to test that all-time high. We break through 47 here, Dennis, and I think you might see some pretty good profit taking.
Eastman Chemical, all kinds of news on this one today. It actually did report earnings, but also it is buying SOA, which is Solutia Incorporated. I think the price is upwards of 27.5 on that. Don't quote me on that. It's trading 27.70, so maybe it's a 28. I seen the number and I forget what it is right now off the top of my head. But I think it's an all-cash deal. Solutia, it's buying SOA. So there's all kinds of news, but obviously they either like the merger or they like the earnings because the stock EMN is actually trading up over 4 points right now. 51.5 after closing at 47.12. Joel, that's a monster move for Eastman Chemical.
Holy Toledo, look at that move there in Eastman Chemical. I'd keep an eye on these pre-market levels. 52 bit snuck up to 52.25. So I'd keep an eye on that, and that's really like the only number you really have on the upside in this thing when going back, even looking at the monthlies. I do see a high at 53.31 and of course, the all-time high way up there at 55.36. But keep an eye on this 52 to 52.25 level. Coming back on the downside, if we can't hold this 51 level, expect this thing to come back and perhaps fill some of this gap.
RIG, which is RIG, it's in the news. The judge indemnified them on some of the from the oil spill and some of the costs from the oil spill. So the stock is really getting a lift on that because remember back in the BP oil spill, BP was suing RIG and suing Halliburton, kind of just trying to get them to cover some of the costs. I think the judge was saying that RIG is not going to have to cover too many costs. So RIG is actually getting a really good lift off that, $50.35 this morning after closing at 47.26. Halliburton getting a lift off it as well. I don't think the judge said anything about Halliburton, but BP was suing them too, so they must think, oh, RIG's getting off, Halliburton's probably going to get off too. So I think that's why you're getting RIG and HAL a pretty good lift here. Maybe Joel can give us a technical on those two stocks.
Yeah, wow, this thing spiked up to 51.68 in the pre-market, then consolidated. So that will be our major resistance, even in fact we can get back up to that level. Since it hit that 51.68 level, have bounced off 50 several times. So if you are playing this thing from the long side, it breaks below 50. You don't have much cover, folks, because yesterday's high was 48.38.
Just another one was Juniper, which reported last night. That stock got absolutely murdered on its report. It's still trading down significantly here this morning. It closed at 22.37. It's trading 20.33. It's a huge move for Juniper. I look at this $20 area. It looks pretty big to me, so maybe it gets a bounce off that. What do you think on Juniper, Joel?
Oh wow, that stock is really. And it's funny. They trudge up. It takes weeks to trudge up, and then one announcement, and they're right back in the pisser. I would.
For lack of a better word.
Yeah, we have an adult audience here. 2010 is we bounced off in the pre-market here. That coincides with Dennis's famous whole number theory here at 20. Below that, you had a low at 1967. So if you're looking to bring in some shorts, gets under 20. Next stopping point is 1967. Of course, any kind of rally here has really been capped at the 2080 level. So this thing, perhaps wait for a year to 21.
Actually, we're losing your audio a little bit there, Joel, so that might be a good time to cut the show short. We're running out of time here anyways. A couple other ones, D reported here this morning, which is Dominion. There's a couple other ones that had reported later last night, but don't have time to go through them all. I know DeVry reported, which is DV, reported last night as well, and that stock's down significantly. Trade down to 36 after hours. So keep an eye on those stocks. That basically my overall take here is actually the market's starting to roll over pretty good. A lot of stocks. There's not a heck of a lot trading up now. We're down 6 points. So on that GDP number, we have come down here significantly off the highs. Is there anything you want to close with there, Joel?
We're trading at yesterday's low here, so keep an eye on this 1309 and a quarter. Use that as a swing number. Get back anywhere near the close, 1315 and a quarter. Be good resistance. And our downside target for the day is at 1303.50.
Well, that's all we've got for you today, and we'll be back with you on Monday.